The sun sank behind the red hills of Nkolo village, washing the savannah in gold. A slow wind moved through the long grass, carrying the sound of distant drums. Children chased each other near the big baobab tree, while elders sat around a fire, telling old stories. But that evening, something felt different in the air. Even the birds seemed quieter, as if they knew a shadow was crawling toward their land. In the center of the village sat Elder Mwenga, the oldest man still breathing in Nkolo. His gray beard touched his chest, and his eyes held the calm of someone who had lived long enough to see kings rise and fall. He looked at the fire and whispered to the other elders, "Tonight, the wind brings a warning. The ancestors are restless." The other elders shifted uneasily. Across the riverlands, far from the peace of Nkolo, a caravan of black SUVs cut through the dusty road like metal beasts. Inside the front car sat the billionaire, Darius Kaito, one of the richest men on the continent. His suit was shiny, his fingers heavy with gold rings. His eyes were cold like the steel towers he owned in the city. He looked through the tinted window at the hills and scoffed. "So this is the land they say is sacred? Perfect. I will build my new mining site here." His assistant swallowed hard. "Sir, the people, they say the land belongs to the ancestors." Darius laughed. "The ancestors don't sign contracts. Bring the bulldozers tomorrow." Back in Nkolo, the night grew darker. Crickets sang. The moon rose full and bright. A young hunter named Okello, strong and barefoot, ran into the village breathless. "Elders, I saw strange lights on the far road. Metal wagons. Men in dark clothes." The drum stopped. Even the fire seemed to shrink. Elder Mwenga stood slowly. "It has begun, the story our grandfathers warned us about." Okello's voice trembled. "What story?" Mwenga raised his staff. The fire roared higher as if listening. "The story of the land of spirits. The hill where the ancestors sleep. Anyone who touches it without respect loses their soul to the night." The villagers murmured. Mothers held their children close. Hunters exchanged worried glances. "When last was the land disturbed?" Okello asked. "Never," Mwenga said, "because all who tried died before their plans began." Far away, Darius arrived at the sacred hill. The land seemed to breathe. A thin mist rose from the soil. The trees swayed, though there was no wind. Darius stepped onto the earth and smiled greedily. "This land will make me richer than any man alive." But then the wind changed. A cold breeze swept through his group. His men shivered. A whisper moved through the grass, a language none of them knew. The torches flickered. The ground pulsed like a heartbeat. Darius frowned. "What is that sound?" No one answered. In the village, Elder Mwenga grabbed his staff tighter. "They have touched the ground. The ancestors have awakened." Children cried. Dogs howled. A strange tremor shook the village huts. A young girl, Amina, pointed at the sky. "Look! The stars are moving." The elders glanced upward. Indeed, the stars above the sacred hill were shifting, forming a spiral, glowing like ancient eyes watching the earth below. Back at the hill, Darius stepped deeper onto the land. The soil under his shoes turned dark, almost black. His assistant tugged his sleeve. "Sir, maybe we should leave. Something doesn't feel right." Darius pulled away. "Stop being afraid of village stories. Legends don't scare me." But at that moment, a low rumble came from the ground. The mist thickened. A dark shape rose between the trees. It was tall, glowing faintly and watching them. The workers froze. One whispered, What is that?" Darius narrowed his eyes. "A trick of the light. Keep moving." But deep inside, even he felt a drop of fear. Back in the village, Elder Mwenga raised his hands to the sky. "Ancestors, protect us." The fire burst upward, sending sparks swirling. The drums began beating themselves. The night echoed with the sound of spirits stirring. A chill swept across the land. Something ancient had awakened, and the village of Nkolo knew this was only the beginning.
The next morning, Darius Kaito woke inside his luxury tent, his heart racing. He didn't remember falling asleep. His clothes were dusty, his boots muddy, and his hands were trembling. When he tried to stand, a sharp pain shot through his legs, as though something had grabbed him during the night. He staggered outside. His workers were gathered in a frightened circle. Their bulldozer, Parked perfectly the night before, now lay flipped on its side, its metal body crushed like it had been squeezed by giant hands. Darius stared, shocked. "Which one of you fools did this?" he barked. A worker stepped forward, voice shaking. "Sir, nobody touched it. We heard screams at dawn. When we came out, it was already destroyed." Darius clenched his fists. Nonsense. Machines don't flip by themselves. But deep down, a cold truth twisted inside him. The land was fighting back. His assistant approached. "Sir, maybe the elders of the village should be consulted. They know this land." Darius glared. "I don't need advice from old storytellers." But as he turned away, the ground behind him cracked open with a sharp snap. The earth split for a moment, then sealed again, as if nothing happened. His workers gasped, stumbling back. Darius swallowed hard. "It's just unstable soil," he muttered. Yet the ancestors' whisper rode the wind again. A voice, old, slow, echoing, carried through the trees. Darius heard it clearly. "Leave." He spun around, heart pounding. "Who said that?" No one answered. In Kolo village, Elder Mwenga gathered warriors, hunters, and villagers. Okello stood at the front with his spear. Mwenga spoke loudly, so all could hear. "A great danger walks on our land. The ancestors warn us. A man of greed has entered the sacred hill." The villagers murmured fearfully. Amina tugged at Mwenga's robe. "Elder, will the spirits harm us?" Mwenga touched her head gently. "They will only harm those who disrespect them." He looked at the hunters. "We must go to the hill. We must speak to this man." Okello nodded. "I will lead." The warriors agreed. The drums of warning began to beat, echoing across the valley. Meanwhile, at the hill, a strange fog rolled in. It was thick, almost solid. Workers coughed and rubbed their eyes. A shadow moved inside the fog. Something tall. Something old. Darius shouted, "Who is there? Come out." But the shadow vanished. A chill crawled through the camp. Birds flew away in a frenzy. Even insects went silent. His assistant whispered, "Sir, this is not normal. We should leave before." A loud thump cut him off. The sacred tree, the oldest on the hill, had dropped all its leaves at once, like a dead thing. They rained down with a sound like soft thunder. Darius stared in confusion. Then he saw it, carved into the trunk overnight. A giant handprint, burned into the wood, smoldering with ghostly heat. His heart dropped. The ancestors had marked the land. A final warning. Darius shook his head violently. "I am not afraid of old ghosts. I am building my mind here, and no spirit will stop me." But even as he said it, the wind carried a low, angry hum. Animals fled the forest. The ground vibrated again. The sky darkened as clouds swirled unnaturally. Something ancient was gathering power. Something waiting for Darius to make one more mistake. Just one.
Okello and the warriors reached the hill by noon. The air was thick and heavy, like the breath of a giant. Birds circled in strange patterns above. They saw the overturned bulldozer. They saw the dead leaves. They smelled the burning tree. Okello whispered, "The spirits are angry." The warriors tightened their grips on their spears. Darius saw the villagers approaching and marched toward them angrily. "You," he shouted, "tell your spirits to stay out of my way." Okello stepped forward calmly. "This land is sacred. You must leave." Darius laughed harshly. "I bought this land from your government. I own it." Mwenga, who had walked slowly behind the group, finally spoke. "No man owns the resting place of ancestors. Not you, not us." Darius rolled his eyes. "Old man, I don't have time for fairy tales." Mwenga's voice turned cold. "Then listen carefully, Billionaire. This land holds a secret older than your money." Darius crossed his arms, unimpressed. "Go on. Amuse me." Mwenga raised his staff. His voice deepened, as though he spoke with more than one tongue. "Long ago, this hill was the battlefield of two great spirit warriors, Nalyabai and Zakera. Their fight shook the earth for 7 days. In the end, both spirits died, and their bodies became this land." The warriors bowed their heads. "The soil remembers them," Mwenga continued. "Their energy sleeps beneath it. This hill is not just sacred. It is alive. Darius smirked. Sounds like a perfect place to dig. The wind howled, angry, sharp, violent. Even Okello stepped back. Mwanga's eyes flared. You insult the dead? Suddenly, the earth trembled violently. Rocks rolled down the hillside. The sacred tree cracked, dropping another burst of dry leaves. Darius shouted, "Stop this foolish magic." But Mwanga shook his head. "This is not my doing. It is the land responding to your greed." A deep rumbling rose. The ground beneath Darius' feet shifted. He stumbled. Then, the hill opened, revealing a glowing cavern beneath the soil. Golden light spilled out like liquid sunlight. Darius' eyes widened with greed. "What is that?" Mwanga whispered. "The heart of the ancestors." Darius stepped forward. "It's mine." Okello tried to block him, but Darius shoved him aside. He walked toward the opening, eyes hungry. The ancestors whispered louder. Their voices filled the wind, the trees, the stones. Mwanga shouted, "Turn back!" But Darius stepped into the cavern, and the hill sealed shut behind him. The warriors gasped. Amina screamed. Mwanga fell to his knees. Okello whispered, "Elder, is he dead?" Mwanga closed his eyes. "No, not yet, but he has entered a place where no living man should go." Inside the cavern, Darius looked around in awe. The walls glowed with ancient symbols. The air hummed with energy. A giant stone heart, pulsing, lay in the center. He walked toward it. He did not know the ancestors were watching. He did not know the land was judging him. He did not know. He had just awakened something far worse. As Darius stepped closer to the pulsing stone heart, it glowed brighter. Shadows danced along the walls, forming shapes of warriors with spears pointed at him. The ground beneath him warmed as if heated by invisible fire. Darius, blinded by greed, reached out his hand. "This power will make me unstoppable." But the moment his fingers touched the stone, a scream tore through the cavern. A voice that wasn't human. A voice that shook the earth. The stone heart burst with white fire. Energy shot up Darius' arm. He collapsed, writhing on the floor. Outside, the hill shook violently. Villagers fell to the ground. Birds fled the sky. The river water rose into swirling spirals. Okello shouted, "He has angered the spirits." The ground split open again, but this time, not gently. Flames poured from the cracks. A giant shadow rose from the hill, taller than the sacred tree. A spirit warrior. Its eyes glowed like embers. Its body was smoke and ash. Its voice thundered, "Who dares awaken you, S?" Mwanga bowed. "Great ancestor, forgive us. The stranger entered your chamber without respect." The spirit turned its burning gaze toward the sealed cavern. The hill cracked open. Darius crawled out, shaking, clothes torn, eyes wild. The spirit roared, "You took what was never yours." Darius screamed, "I didn't take anything." But his right arm glowed, marked with ancient symbols burned into his skin. The spirit raised its hand. Darius lifted off the ground, suspended like a puppet. Villagers watched in horror and awe. Mwanga shouted, "Great One, spare him. His soul is lost, but he can still learn." The spirit lowered Darius, but not gently. Darius hit the ground hard, gasping. The spirit spoke again, voice like thunder. "You will be judged." The sky darkened as clouds spiraled. Lightning struck the hilltop. Trees bent backward as if bowing. Darius tried to stand but fell. "I only wanted wealth," he cried. "I only wanted more." The spirit's eyes narrowed. Greed blinds the heart. The warriors dropped to their knees. The wind howled violently. The ground pulsed with ancient anger. Then the spirit extended a smoky hand toward Darius' chest. A glowing orb, Darius' greed, rose from his body, twisting like a snake. The spirit crushed the orb in its hand. Darius screamed, collapsing unconscious. The spirit turned to Mwanga. "He will live, but he will carry the weight of his actions." Then the spirit dissolved into smoke, returning to the hill. The earth closed. The sky cleared. The wind softened. But nothing, not the land, not the villagers, not Darius, would ever be the same. Darius woke at sunset, lying in the dust. His head throbbed. His limbs were heavy. The villagers stood in a circle around him, warriors with spears, elders with staffs, children hiding behind their mothers. Okello stepped forward. The ancestors spared you. They expect you to fix what you broke. Darius shook. Fix how? Mwanga knelt beside him. By giving back what you tried to steal. Darius looked toward the sealed cavern. But I didn't take anything. Mwanga's eyes burned with sorrow. You took peace from this land. You shook the spirit's resting place. You woke the warriors of old. Darius swallowed hard. His glowing arm pulsed painfully. The symbols burned brighter with every heartbeat. Mwanga touched the symbols. This is your curse. Until you make things right, the ancestors will haunt you. Darius stared at the village. The children. The old mothers. The warriors. The hunters. People who had nothing, yet lived with dignity and unity. Unlike him, that night, the village drums beat slowly, mourning drums. Darius sat alone near the fire. The flames reflected in his tired eyes. Amina approached him shyly. Do the spirits still follow you? He nodded. Yes. She whispered. Then do good. Spirits like good hearts. Her small words struck him deeper than the spirit's fire. At midnight, the sky shimmered. The ancestors appeared again, but not in anger. Their shapes glowed above the hill, forming a circle of light. Mwanga called the villagers. They come for their answer. Darius stepped forward. I will return the land, he said softly. I will give it to the people. No mines, no machines, only respect. The spirit's eyes glowed. But I ask for forgiveness, he continued. Teach me your ways. Let me learn. The spirits whispered among themselves. Then one stepped forward, Zakhara, the warrior from the ancient tale. His voice was deep but gentler now. If you truly wish to learn, then listen to the land. And serve it. Darius bowed deeply. For the first time in his life, the ancestor touched his cursed arm. The glowing symbols dimmed, becoming scars, permanent reminders. Darius felt a weight lift from his chest, but not completely. His journey was not over. Morning light washed the hill in soft gold. The air smelled fresh, like new beginnings. The villagers gathered around the sacred baobab as Mwanga prepared a ritual. Darius stood beside him, dressed in simple village cloth instead of his usual suit. His rings were gone, his watch removed, his shoes dusty. He no longer looked like a billionaire. He looked like a man humbled by the earth. Mwanga nodded at him. Today you give back. Darius stepped forward with a rolled document. His voice shook. This is the official deed to the sacred hill. I give full ownership to the village of Nkolo. Forever. A wave of relief spread through the crowd. Mother smiled. Warriors nodded proudly. Amina clapped softly. But then the ground trembled gently, this time not in anger, but in acknowledgement. Wind circled the hill. Leaves rose in spirals. The ancestors appeared again, faint, peaceful, watching. Darius knelt. I am sorry. For my greed. For my pride. The spirits glowed brighter. Zakhara's voice echoed, calm and wise. A heart that learns is a heart that lives. Mwanga raised a staff. The spirits accept your apology. The villagers cheered. But Darius remained quiet. He touched his scarred arm. Will the marks ever fade? Mwanga shook his head gently. No. They are your reminder. A reminder that the earth does not belong to us. We belong to it. Darius breathed deeply. For the first time, he felt peace. He decided to stay in Nkolo, to rebuild homes, to fund schools, to plant new trees, not out of fear, but gratitude. Years passed. The sacred hill flourished. Flowers grew in colors unseen before. Animals returned. The river ran clearer than ever. Darius grew older, wiser, kinder. The scars on his arm faded only slightly, but he wore them with pride. Children would run to him, calling, Grandfather Darius, tell us the story again. The story of the spirits. And he would smile. The land teaches us everything, he'd say. If we listen. One evening, as the sun set, Darius walked up the sacred hill. He felt a warm presence. The ancestors stood around him. Zakhara spoke. You changed your path. Your heart is free. Darius smiled softly. Thank you for giving me another chance. The spirit warrior bowed his head. Go with peace. Protect the land. Then the spirits faded into the sky, leaving behind a gentle glow. Darius whispered, "I will." Below the hill, the village drums began a joyful rhythm. Children danced. Firelight flickered like golden butterflies. And the hill stood strong, untouched, sacred forever. Final moral of the story: greed destroys the soul, but humility returns the heart to the right path. Respect the land, respect the ancestors, and the world will protect you in return.